Yo guys, in this video today I'll be showing you my full Windows optimization guide. Recently I've had a lot of comments from you guys asking why some of you get much worse performance than I do, even with the same PC specs. So in this video I'll be breaking down exactly what I do to maximize my FPS whilst minimizing input delay and making Windows as snappy and responsive as possible. One thing to note is I highly recommend fresh installing Windows through USB using the Windows Media Creation tool. If you don't know how to do this, then I'll leave a link to the video I first followed a few years ago. I also recommend you to create a restore point before doing any tweaks or optimizations to your PC, just to be safe. Anyway, let's move on with the video. Okay guys, so we're on a fresh new PC here. Well, when I say new, it's certainly not new, it's very old. And it's got some really bad specs. Now this PC was quite cheap and I just wanted to see how much performance we can gain out of this by optimizing Windows as much as possible. As you can see, we've got a GT 1030 with 2GB of VRAM and an i7-2600, which is a 4-core and 8-thread processor. So both of these are quite old. DDR3 RAM running at 1333 MHz and only 12GB, so better than 8 but not quite the sweet spot like 16. But what we're going to do first is we're going to head over to settings, and the first thing I always do on a new PC is just check for updates. I've already done this on this PC, so I highly doubt there's going to be any more updates. But the reason we're doing this is because there is a step later on which, if we update Windows after that, it might revert some of the things we do later on in the video. So once you've checked for updates, you can pause the updates for 7 days or however long you want. Now I always pause my updates and then just resume my updates when I want to check, because if Windows just automatically updates our PC while we're gaming, then we're going to have ping problems and it's just going to be a nightmare. So we'll just leave that paused as we do not need to check for updates now. So the next step is to install our graphics card drivers. Now, using the programs that I'm going to show now, this is the best way to clean install your graphics card drivers. Now, you don't need to use something like Display Driver Uninstaller every single time you update your drivers. However, if you've had your drivers installed for a very long time and constantly just update them and you run into performance issues, just try using Display Driver Uninstaller and then NVcleaninstall to reinstall your drivers. So what I'm going to do is show you how it all works. So once we're here, we'll select GPU and make sure your GPU is selected. If you have an Nvidia, choose that, AMD. So what you're going to do here, and all you need to do, is click clean and restart. And what that'll do, you'll see in the event log, and it'll start uninstalling all the drivers. Your screen will flicker and go black and may even turn off for a second, and you think, well, what's going on? It's not a problem and it's completely normal, and it's just where it's uninstalling your graphics card driver. Now what will happen after that is, obviously if you click this button, it'll restart your PC, and when you load back to Windows, you will notice probably that when you look in your task manager, your graphics card won't be there anymore, and that'll be because it has no driver to run on. So that's where NVcleaninstall comes in, and I will show you that step in a second once I've reset my drivers. Okay, so I just recorded the whole NVcleaninstall process, but because obviously I uninstalled my graphics card driver, I had a black screen in the recording. So obviously I've got my driver installed, but I'll just show you again how to do it. Obviously for you guys, you will not see your graphics card in Task Manager, and that's because your driver will be uninstalled. And then what you do is you open NVcleaninstall. And from here, what you can do is you can either manually select a driver version if you know one that's better for FPS and latency for your specific GPU. But for this video, I'm just going to install the best driver for my hardware, which is the latest driver. So we'll click next. And from here, this is where you'll select what to install. Now, obviously, you need your display driver to be installed. But if you use something like Shadowplay to record your clips, then you're going to need to check this box. And it also will need things like GeForce Experience for Shadowplay to work. So what you do is click next, and it'll tell you obviously other components are required. So you click yes again, click next, now that everything's installed, and click yes. So it's installed everything you need for your display driver and for Shadowplay to work and for you to be able to clip your gameplay. So from here we'll click next, and this process here can take a little bit of time, so I might just cut the video. But for some of you guys that are on slightly faster PCs, it might only take 30 seconds, but we'll carry on with the installation. And now it's pretty much done, so we'll just wait for this part to finish. Okay, so once we're at the installation tweaks, what we want to do is select disable installer telemetry and advertising. We want to check the box for unattended express installation and click perform a clean installation. And what we also want to do is obviously check the disable multiplayer and overlay, disable install, and show expert tweaks. And in the expert tweak section, what we do is leave these ones here unchecked because they may break the control panel. And then once we're here, we will just disable Nvidia HD audio device sleep timer, enable MSI and put it to high for the interrupt priority, disable HDCP. If you want to know what any of these things do, there's help boxes which we'll explain, and that's about it. We'll click next. And it's basically done now. We're just going to install the driver. And as you can see, this is a generic installation screen. So we'll let it just finish up and completely install our new drivers. Okay, so once your PC is restarted, you can right click on the desktop and go to the Nvidia control panel. And here we're going to optimize the settings within the control panel. So the first step is on the 3D settings. You want to select use my preference and slide it all the way to performance and click apply. As you can see, the PC is pretty laggy at the moment. Hopefully it's going to feel a lot snappier once all the optimizations are complete. And then check back on the use advanced 3D image settings and click apply. Next we're going to go to manage 3D settings. We're going to turn off gamma correction and scroll a little bit further down. Now with low latency mode, we're going to put this to on rather than ultra. In most cases, the ultra mode will work better with the latest Nvidia graphics cards. And then we're going to scroll down further and select power management mode and put it to prefer maximum performance. Preferred refresh rate, highest available. We're going to leave the shader cache size to default and go to texture filtering and change it from quality to high performance. And make sure vertical sync is off as well. And if you have G-Sync with your monitor, make sure G-Sync is disabled and click apply. And now with this part, we're going to select desktop color settings. And this won't actually improve your performance, but it will. This setting here, which is digital vibrance, it will make the game look a little more vibrant, and anything else as well. As you can see, the higher we put this, the more vibrant the colors go. But I normally put it on around 70, as that's where I think it looks the best. And once we're done with that, we're also going to come to adjust desktop size and position and click no scaling. Your screen will go black for a second and click yes. Click apply. And now we can close out of the Nvidia control panel. So once that's all done, the next thing we're going to be doing is debloating Windows. Now just a precaution, if you use the Xbox game bar, using these programs here, it can sometimes break the game bar. I've had it where obviously the game bar will still show up and be installed, but when I press Windows key and G, it doesn't actually open. So yeah, just be careful if you're using Xbox game bar for anything, as this may stop them from working. The first tool we're going to be using, which will be linked in the description, is called One Tool for Everything by Chris Titus Tech. Now what you do is come to the page, and this link here, you click copy, And now press your Windows key and type in PowerShell and run as administrator. And then you're going to paste the code in and hit enter. And we're going to wait for the installations to finish. Now once we're here, it's actually a pretty useful tool. But basically this section here is where you can actually install all the programs, well, the majority of programs that most people use on their computer. You have Epic Games Launcher on here, Discord, and it's just a much easier way of, or faster way of, installing everything you need when you've reinstalled Windows. But for this video, we're just going to choose the Microsoft tools and install all the runtimes here. And the Visual C++, the two at the bottom. And then we're going to click on this box here. And we will have to wait a few seconds for it to install these before we can move on to the next step. And just to prove these tools work, if we have a look at our task manager, we currently have 176 background processes. So this tool will help us get this down to around 80 to 90. So it will cut our processes down in half. So we'll just let it install the Microsoft tools like we selected. And now, as we can see in the PowerShell, it says that installs are finished. So what we'll do from here is we'll move over to the tweak section. And on the recommended selections, we'll select desktop. And we'll select this box here. It does tell you what it does as well. Now the advanced tweaks I will leave blank, so if you don't know what you're doing in here, don't bother selecting them. And he has included O&O shutup tweaks, which basically is a free privacy tool that gives you full control over the functions in Windows 10 and 11. We'll just go to actions and click on apply only recommended settings. And once that's done, we can close this little box here. And it obviously is prompting us to restart Windows, but we'll do that once we fully debloated it. And now we can click on the run tweak section here as well. As you'll see in the PowerShell box, it's running all the tweaks, and wait for this to say finished as well. And here you'll see it says tweaks are finished. So we'll close out of here, and we'll just close that program now. Okay, and now for the last debloating tool, we're going to head over to Google and type in Synex debloater and go to the GitHub page and click on code and click on download zip. And what you want to do is extract it. I've already done this. Open it up and left click once and then right click and run with PowerShell on the Windows 10 Debloater GUI. And it'll create a restore point. And just click on remove all bloatware. And now it's all finished, we can close out of here. And now the last thing we're going to do is type in Revo Uninstaller. And it'll come up here and it's free, so don't worry about that. We'll click the link here and click on download free portable. Now what this does is it's a program, and it's similar to just uninstalling programs within Windows, but this seems to do a better job of removing all unnecessary programs and the registry files attached to them as well. So what we do is show in folder and extract all. And then we're going to click on the bottom one and just run as an administrator. Click OK. And then you'll be met with a window like this. Now this is currently everything that's installed on this computer. And these are the programs I've installed, except OneDrive obviously. But then if you go to this section here, it shows the Windows apps. And this is where all the bloatware is, as you can see. So we'll start at the top and what you do is left click once and click on uninstall, and it asks you if you want to make a system restore point before doing any of this, and we won't be doing that, so we'll uncheck this box and we'll click for scan, and it'll show all the registry files linked to the 3D viewer, so we'll select all and click delete, and you give it a second, and now that's done. So we're going to go through it and do that exact same process for every single one. What I'll probably do is speed up the video for this part. And once we're done here, we can close out of this, close everything, and we're going to restart our PC and see where our background processes are at now. Okay, so now we're back on Windows. What we're going to do is open the Task Manager, and just to prove, obviously this is the exact same PC, you can see our GT 1030, 12GB DDR3 memory, and our i7 2600. Now you can see our processes have been actually cut down over half to 74, which is really good. And all our startup apps and everything are disabled, so now our Windows is going to feel a lot snappier, and there's going to be a lot less background processes running. Okay, so now what we're going to do is optimize all of our Windows settings. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is in the One Tool for Everything, there was an option to add Ultimate Performance Power Plan. So if you want to open the tool and add the Ultimate Performance Power Plan, you can do so, or you can copy the link, which I'll leave in the description, for the command prompt to enable it. So we'll open the command prompt, and we'll type in this code here, which will be in the description. Now, as you can see, it says ultimate performance. And now when we go to our power plan, go to advanced power settings. And now when we go to Windows, go to power and sleep, go to additional power settings. Of course, Windows will by default be on balanced, but now we've added the code in, we're going to have an ultimate performance power plan. Now what we're going to do is go to change plan settings, and this is entirely up to you, but obviously I don't need the display to be turning off at any point. So we'll click next, we'll go back here and click on change advanced power settings. So we'll make sure that obviously power saving mode is on maximum performance, and we'll make sure that sleep is set to never and from the wake timer. Now this setting here is just a power saving feature, so we're going to disable it. Click OK and go to processor power management, minimum processor state. I'm going to change this to 99 just so it's not running at 100% at all times. And then the maximum processor state will be at 100. And from here, just make sure display is set to never. All these things are pretty much set with the ultimate performance power plan, except the minor things we've changed. And now we can click OK and come out of here. So now what we're going to do is head over to display on settings. Of course, this will be dependent on what resolution you're using, but I'm using a 1080p monitor at native res, so we're going to keep that at that. And we're going to head over to advanced display settings. Now what we want to do is make sure our monitor is set to the highest refresh rate, which mine wasn't. And go to graphics settings after that. And we're going to turn on hardware accelerated. And then we're going to turn on HAGS, which is hardware accelerated GPU scheduling, which does require a restart of your PC, but we'll do that later. And go to the graphics performance preference, and here we're going to be adding our games that we want to play, and in our case it'd be Fortnite. But what we'll do is go to our C drive, program files, Epic Games, Fortnite game, binaries, Win64, and choose the largest file size for the Fortnite client Win64 shipping. We're going to add that and select options and select high performance for our graphics card. Now within the settings, go back to system and we're going to disable all notifications. And we'll head over to personalization, go to colors, and we're just going to turn off transparent effects. Now obviously I've got this on dark mode, it's entirely up to you what you have your Windows set to, but I think dark mode just looks better. So once we're done here, we're going to exit out. And now we're going to type in create a restore point. Now obviously this is something you should be doing at the start of before optimizing Windows at all, but this is not what we're here for. We're here to go to the advanced section in the system properties and select performance. And now all these boxes will be checked because of this setting here, so we're going to check adjust for best performance, which will uncheck all of them, and we're going to enable smooth edges of screen fonts and show thumbnails instead of icons. Hit apply and hit OK. Now what else we're going to do is go over to our settings again and go to gaming. Make sure game bar is turned off. We've actually uninstalled it, so there should be no reason for it to be installed. And we're going to go to game mode and just make sure this is on. Now what we're also going to do is customize our network settings. So what we're going to type in is Ethernet settings. Now if you're not playing on Ethernet on your Wi-Fi, then I'd advise to find a way to be on Ethernet. Obviously it'd be much better for your ping and your network stability. So once we're here, we're going to head over to change adapter options. Now what I would actually recommend doing is, well, most of you will have a Realtek or Intel Ethernet adapter. I would recommend going to their website and updating it. Now for this network adapter that I have, or Ethernet driver, it's very old, and that's because of the age of the motherboard and everything else. So I haven't updated this, and quite honestly it's a 2013 driver and the latest I can go is 2014, so I won't be showing you how to update your drivers in this video. There's plenty of videos for that. Now what we're going to do is head over to configure and we're going to go to the power management, and we're going to uncheck these boxes for allow the computer to turn off this device to save power. We're going to come back into properties, go to advanced, and make sure energy efficient Ethernet is disabled. And if you see anything like green Ethernet as well, disable that. Any power saving features you see in here, turn off. And also disable flow control. And what it do is it will disconnect the network and reconnect it again. And now we will be going to device manager, and you can see our driver here. All these settings should be already set, but what we want to do is just disable any other network adapters we don't use. All these WAN ports I don't use, so we're going to go through and disable them. Now one thing we also will check is obviously that Bluetooth is disabled. Now what you can actually do is type in services. Now I'm pretty sure the Windows debloaters will have disabled, yeah, so it would have set Bluetooth to manual, which is completely fine. Well, in fact the first debloater would have set a lot of processes to manual unless there are things that Windows needs to run. But if you don't use your Bluetooth Bluetooth headphones or anything, then make sure to just disable Bluetooth. Okay, so now we're going to head over to Google and search for intelligent standby list cleaner. And what we'll do is make sure we're on Wagner Soft, because that's the person whose software it is, and click here for download and support. And we'll click download ISLC here. And then what we'll do is we will run as administrator. Once it's extracted, we'll go to the file where it's extracted to, and click on the top one and run as an administrator. Now basically what we'll be doing in here is setting the standby list memory cleaner. So basically what that is if you go to resource monitor and go to memory, this is a standby memory, which basically means it's memory that's not being utilized. As it says here, memory that contains cache data and code that is not actively in use. So what we want to do is constantly, what this program will do is, depending on the numbers you put in here, you basically purge that list. So what happens if we click this button here and go to resource monitor, you'll now see that the standby list memory has gone down dramatically. So what this means is it's given us some memory back, and obviously for lower end PCs this is very useful. Obviously for me I've got 12 gigabytes of RAM, so what I'll do in this box is put 6000 in the free memory as lower LAN. So whatever this number here is here, if you have 32 gigabytes, you put 16. If you have 16 gigabytes, you put 8000. And if you have 8000, you put 4000. And we'll leave this top box as 1024. We'll check these boxes here. And basically what that will mean is you'll see the standby list and the system working set, and it'll constantly go up. So as your PC is on for longer, the standby list will get bigger. And we can counter this by, once the file size, so this number here, is larger than that, and our free memory is lower than 6000, what will happen is it will automatically purge the list for you, and it will clear all the standby list memory that is being used. Now the other part of this intelligent standby list cleaner is the timer resolution. So roughly speaking, timer resolution is how often your processor updates and refreshes. On older systems, the default number would have been 15 milliseconds, but now with newer systems, a lot of times this will be at 1 millisecond. So basically what we do is click on the box where it says enable custom timer resolution, and we'll remove the writing in here, and we'll put 0, and you won't be able to type 0.5, it just keep deleting. So type 0 and go behind the dot and click 5. Now don't worry about the extra zeros, because when we click start, our timer resolution has gone from 1 millisecond to 0.5 milliseconds. And what you do is obviously keep these boxes checked and never close this, because this won't be working, and just minimize this. So what will happen then is it'll be in the bottom corner, just run in the background, and as your free memory goes lower than 6000, and then as long as the standby list and system working set is at 1024, it's going to purge the standby list. And this helps a lot, especially for lower end systems and people with less RAM. It'll help reduce stutters, and it'll just make your game feel a lot smoother. Okay guys, so the next thing we're going to be doing is downloading or installing Profile Inspector. And please ignore the dog barking in the background. And once we're on the site, we're going to click the profile inspector.zip and show in folder, and we're going to extract it here. Now right click on Profile Inspector, and basically what Profile Inspector does is it allows you to change a lot of the hidden settings that aren't shown in the Nvidia control panel. So we have a look here. A lot of this we might recognize, so like ultra low latency mode, anisotropic filtering, all these things. But basically what we're going to be doing is using a profile that I found from the internet, and basically just applying the best settings. I'll leave a link in the description, and we'll drag over list settings, and it'll say profile successfully imported, and we'll just click apply changes and close out of here. Okay, so the next thing we'll be doing as well is typing in device cleanup tool, go to majorgeeks.com, and we're just going to download the zip folder here. And basically what device cleanup does is it removes any non-present devices that are on your system. So we'll extract the file, x64, run as administrator, and we can just go ahead and remove anything that isn't currently being used. As you can see, there's some old microphones that were plugged in, etc. Anything that is not being used currently for your device. We'll select all and we'll click remove selected, and now we're just done with this tool. Okay guys, so we're heading towards the end of the video now, but what I'm going to be showing you now is the Windows tweakers that I use. So the first thing I would recommend to use is WPD, which is Windows Privacy Dashboard. So we're going to hit the download button here, and once it's installed, we're going to show in folder, extract all, and right click and run as administrator. Okay, so now we're in here, we're going to disable telemetry. And we're also going to block telemetry IPs as well. Now there is other things you can do in here, but like you can uninstall all your apps here, but we've already done all that, so we'll be closing out of here now. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is download Ultimate Windows Tweaker 4. Now, if you're on Windows 11, you'll use the Windows Tweaker 5, but for Windows 10, you'll use the 4. So what we do is we use a 4.8 here, and we'll scroll down and click on download, and we'll show in folder, extract all, and we'll open it up, and we'll right click, run as administrator. Okay, so now we're in here. There's a lot of sections in here, so what I'll do is try my best to go through everything. Now on the first page there's a system file checker, which is basically just scan out. It's just going to scan your PC for any corrupted system files and repair them. So we'll do that just to show you what it does. This can be quite helpful, especially if you're experiencing problems with your computer or something's not working as it should. You can always run SFC scan now or DISM check health to actually just check for any corrupt system files. Okay, so while we wait for that, because this process can take some time while it scans all your system files, we're going to head over to customization, and we're going to check disable start animations, and we're going to hit apply, and then we're going to head over to performance, and we're going to set all these performance tweaks to the lowest time in milliseconds. And now also here, you want to disable anything you don't use. So for example, it does tell you what they do. For example, prefetch service boosts up the startup of programs, however increases Windows boot time. So it all depends on what you want. If you use a printer, don't disable printer spawning service. And what we're going to do is just go through all these settings, and I won't disable Windows Security Center service. I'm going to turn off search indexer, disable automatic folder view discovery, and we're going to also check increase priority of IRQ8. I'm going to go to security and privacy, and we're going to turn off user tracking, disable OneDrive, and once we've got both of these checked, we're just going to click apply. We're going to go to the additional section as well, and we're going to check that enable the network adapter onboard processor. We're also going to restrict access over anomalous connections, and we're going to disable recent shares in network places. We're going to hide entire network from network neighborhood, and we're also going to check these top 3 boxes here, and then we're going to hit apply tweaks. And as you can see, the system scan from earlier found corrupt files and successfully repaired them, so we can close out of here. And now that's about it for what we need for this program here, and we're going to close out. But what we're going to also do now we're getting right to the end of the video, is we're going to install CCleaner. Now this is basically mainly for people that are lazy and can't be bothered to do a disk cleanup or delete all their prefetch or temp files, but it's a simple one-click button program, so it's a lot easier for people that don't really know how to clean their PC. And then we're going to open CC Cleaner. I'm going to click install. Uncheck here. Run CC Cleaner. And now what we're actually just going to do, we're going to decline all these things and we'll click on custom clean, click on analyze. Now here you can actually choose what you are removing. And once we've run that, you'll see how much can be removed. So 1 GB can be clean or removed from this PC. Now some of you, if you've never done this and never got rid of any temp files, you could have upwards to 10 GB or even more. So once that's done, we're going to close out of here, and that's all we need to do with CC Cleaner. Now I'd recommend just checking, running this once a week or even every month if you, you know, keep your PC relatively clean. And now the last thing we're going to be doing is checking for malware. We're going to type in adware cleaner. I'm going to go down to tools lib and download it from here. Now adware cleaner is free. If you want to use Malwarebytes, that is a free version, but for the most part it is a paid software. So we're going to use adware cleaner instead and click download. And we're going to show in folder and we're going to just run as administrator. And then we're just going to click scan now. Now obviously this is a fresh install of Windows, so I highly doubt anything will be found. Your scan is complete, no items were detected on your system. Now what you just do from here is click on skip basic repair. Now what I'd recommend to do is, let's say for example you download a file or a cracked version of software, and you're unsure whether it's a safe crack, just go through here and scan now, and if there's any malware or malicious software or files on your PC, it's going to find it through here. And that just about wraps it up for this video, guys. So what we're going to do now is restart our PC, and then you can carry on, play your games, test them out and see how much this has improved your performance. I hope this helped you all out, and I'll see you all soon.